We step into the world of big dreams, big moves, and big money. It's the Big Cheese Miami Recruiting and NIL Report with Manny Navarro. After 40 years, the Big Cheese remains dedicated to serving the finest Italian dinners, pizza, pasta, subs, and salads. All of their pasta is imported from Italy and cooked fresh every day. Visit BigCheeseMiami.com. Now, let's find out who's the Big Cheese the Miami Hurricanes are working on with insider Manny Navarro.
All right. It's the off season, and we want to find out who are the big cheeses that are coming to Miami. Good morning, Manny. And it seems like the basketball team has got a couple of big cheeses coming to the team.
Yeah, Jai Lucas has been busy. He's got to redo the whole roster pretty much, which is the way basketball is nowadays, right? You basically have very rarely do guys stick around after a year or two, so it's a constant rotation. But he's got a couple of guys that he's got locked up. The first one that they landed this week was Welt Rheaume, Miami area kid who ended up playing at Montverde and ended up going to Indiana. 6'9", 233-pound, big man in the post, guy who's going to score points for you. I think started 19 games this past season, 13 points, 5.5 rebounds, 2 assists. And then they went out and they got a point guard, it looks like, from Michigan, and Trey Donaldson, another kid from the state of Florida, Tallahassee area kid, also a senior, another guy who's kind of just, in for one last run. Helped lead Michigan, obviously, to the Sweet 16, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 3.5 assists, a steal game, and 37 starts. So you talk about foundation. These are the first two guys that are going to sort of be the foundation of the next season for Miami in terms of leaders, right? You got your big man, you got your point guard, and then now they're going to go out and try to find some wings and address some other positions that are necessary and add some depth. So, Jai Lucas is busy, man. He's got a lot of guys to sign here in the next few months.
And the Boozer brothers aren't really coming, right? I mean, that's just kind of fun stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things that it's like a rumor that's out there. Like, hey, could this happen? Is it possible? Yeah, I think it's possible. Is it going to happen? Is the likelihood of it happening? I mean, again, it's Duke, right? I mean, Duke's in the Final Four. That's the premier program. They're two of the best players in the country, McDonald's All-Americans, the two brothers, and I think while you'd love for it to happen, I think the likelihood is probably slim.
All right, good stuff. All right, let's get to an O-line commitment for the Miami Hurricanes. What do we got?
Yeah, Mario talked about it yesterday at practice that they could potentially have 4 or 5 guys he thinks that are part of this year's group that could be drafted. Guys that decide to leave after year 3 or year 4, and obviously. CC Mauinoa is the big one, right? The right tackle. He's probably going to end up being a first rounder. But there's other guys there too. And as Cooper, who needs to be replaced, you're going to have your center, James Brockermeyer, who will be gone. So the offensive line needs to be sort of rebuilt. And so they're going to take 6-7 guys potentially here in this next recruiting class. And they got 3 right now that are committed. All, talented players, 3-star recruits, not the big 5-star names. So those guys are still Miami's still pursuing those, dude. We've talked about them here on the show before. Pepe, we talked about him last week. The kid from Bradenton IMG Academy, Kenye Pepe, whose brother plays for USC, and the big offensive tackle from Missouri, who they're after. But they ended up getting this kid, J.J. Sparks, out of Jacksonville Bulls. And, the one thing Miami's had to do here the last few years is take a center in the transfer portal the last 3 years. Well, Mario wants to kind of start growing those guys himself. But you need guys to be ready to take that position. Center is so important because you're calling out the blitzes. You're lining up where the defense is, the middle linebacker. So they've done a good job here. S.J. Alafatui, the kid they got at Bishop Gorman, is sort of the center of the future. I think J.J. Sparks is the next one. He's the guy that'll come in, and once Alafatui is done with his career, 6'3", and a half, 300-pound guy, Florida State, Vanderbilt, North Carolina, UCF, Georgia Tech, all wanted him. But he's a really solid interior lineman and the kind of guy that can probably play guard as well, move over to guard, maybe play that for the first couple of years in college as Alafatui starts, and then move to center by the time he's a junior.
All right. I understand you visited the Golden Panthers.
Yeah,
So what's going on? I know they got the spring game going on and everything.
yeah.
So talk a little bit about the Panthers.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a chance to talk with their new coach, Willie Simmons, today at about 2 o'clock. I spent some time talking to their athletic director, Scott Carr. Oh, people, college football, it's the have and the have-nots, right? That's basically what it's become. And if you're in a Power Four conference, you're going to be able to, have the money to buy players and to recruit them. If you're not in a Power Five conference, which FIU is in Conference USA, they're a G5, G6 school now. You're not going to have the money. And so they lost 11 guys that started at least 6 games for them last season to the transfer portal, including Conference USA Defensive Player of the Year Travion Barnes, who went to Baylor. They were able to keep their quarterback. And Willie Simmons, for those of you who aren't familiar with Willie, he was at Florida A&M. He was at Prairie View A&M before that. And he has won everywhere he's been the head coach. Last year, he was with Manny Diaz at Duke, did a phenomenal job there as the running backs coach and developing players. And basically, he had interviewed for the FIU job back in 2021 when they hired Mike McIntyre. And so Scott Carr kept his number. He's always really liked Willie, and now this is sort of an opportunity to hit the reset button at FIU and to see if they can turn things around. And Willie, look, he's hired a lot of guys that were on Mario's staff. Frank Ponce, who well, who's been on, Miami area guy, Miami High guy. This is his tight ends coach. He's one of his top recruiters. He got Edwin Pata from the University of Miami, who was the offensive line assistant coach there. Benedict Hippolyte, the running backs coach. I went over there, and it was like a reunion for me with a lot of those guys. And they all worked for Mario, and they all know what it's like to recruit. And the one thing Edwin told me this week was the key here is you have to be a relentless recruiter. You have to be able to get guys out of this area and get them to come to FIU and play. And unfortunately, those guys end up leaving. But I think the mindset has changed at FIU, which is, hey, instead of crying about the fact that we're going to lose players every year, we're just going to keep bringing in, lower level guys, developing them, making them great players. And if they leave us, that's fine, but they help us win. And that's what Willie Simmons wants to do. He wants to win. He wants to do the best that he can. They've accepted the situation that they're in instead of just being angry and disappointed about it.
Troy State, Louisiana State, Richmond University,
all of those schools, yeah.
Appalachian State, that's what these programs are. They've feeders. They've had more success than FIU, and why? It's because they actually find players, they develop them, and then some of them leave, or some of them actually get drafted.
Right.
And it's like, okay, well, wow, dude, let me go check out La Tech, because they always seem to have somebody going into the draft, or the Richmond Spiders or something like that. So it's interesting. There are programs like that. And so I guess FIU, if they want to have some kind of success, they're going to have to look to those kind of schools and say, we got to do it the way they do it.
That's it. And I think a lot of it is just accepting the fact that, and even telling the players that, right, when you're recruiting them, hey, why go sit on the bench for 2 years at Miami? Come here for your first 2 years. We'll play you, and we'll help you get the big NIL deal in year 3 or year 4. We're going to help, push your career along and help get you to the NFL. And it's a different.
Let me ask you something. FIU has more graduates than 40 times over than the University of Miami in South Florida.
Yeah.
There's a shit ton of people that are super successful in this town and throughout the country that studied and graduated from FIU. I'm just wondering how they have not been able to create their own collective, because damn, dude, their alumni base is enormous, man. I mean, I live with 2 of them.
Yeah. And I'm one myself. I mean, look, I think the biggest problem for FIU, and I wrote about this when I was a student there in the late 90s, Miami, University of Miami, everybody who went to FIU, think about it. They didn't have football till 2002, right? With Don Strock and those guys. So everybody grew up in this city rooting for Miami. There was no other football team in terms of college football. And so you're basically going through that phase now where Miami hasn't won national championships since 2001, since FIU's program began, and they're trying to get their act together. But the majority of people grew up Miami fans, so FIU needs to sort of have some success on its own. And look, they've had four winning seasons since they joined the FBS ranks in 2004. You're not going to develop a fan base without winning. You need an overachiever. You've been through 7 coaches now. Other than Mario and Butch, nobody else has been able to win there. So it's hard. And I think ultimately, look, you're right. There is a big group of people who care about FIU that want to see the program succeed.
Great, dude. Yeah, man.
But you've gone through 3 consecutive 4-8 seasons. And the last few guys, even before that, Butch, it was I mean, a disaster. And so I think
that starts above them, and that starts with Pete,
right,
cancer to that the athletic program. And so you've got to rid yourself of crap like that, so you can actually. And I understand FIU people not trusting Pete and where that program was, but if you rid yourself of that, and you can build an NIL collective, dude, you're in South Florida, bro.
Yeah. Well, they're doing it. They're doing it. Scott Carr, who's the new athletic director there, took over for Pete Garcia.
Dude, by the way, I met Scott Carr. He's a good dude.
Super good dude. We spent 45 minutes on the phone yesterday talking. And look, they started the Panther Club. They didn't have that. You know, like you think about University of Miami, University of Florida, right? The Bull Gators, right? You've heard about those guys before. You've heard, the Golden Canes. They didn't really have that before Scott got there. So they've started this Panther Club, and they've got some individuals that are giving good amount of money. I mean, a couple years ago, they had 4 people give $500,000 each to the university to help get the athletic program going. So there are people that want to help FIU and help them get successful and win on the field, but it's a work in progress, and you need results. And so Willie Simmons comes here, I think, at the perfect time. He is an overachiever. He knows how to recruit. He knows how to run a program. He's going to end up somewhere else, I think, coaching at a Power 4 school. So it's just a matter of time. But you want to ride a guy like Willie Simmons to success and overachievement and get your program off the ground. FIU just hasn't been able to do that.
Yeah, no, it's a shame because, man, with that fan base, with that alumni, you would figure that they would be able to take it to the next level. They do that at the Big Cheese, by the way, whether it's the garlic rolls, whether it's the baked ziti, which I absolutely love, the fettuccine Alfredo, the sauteed chicken, all kinds of stuff. Great appetizers like fried mozzarella, the fried shrimp, the fried calamari, the beer-battered sweet onion rings, which, by the way, they are very underrated there at the Big Cheese.
You're getting me hungry, yo. You get everybody hungry with this segment every time.
BigCheeseMiami.com, 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue. I promise you, take that friend, that family member, that loved one, that business partner, get on down there, check it out. Say hi to Gary and all the great people out there at BigCheeseMiami.com, 305-662-6855. Manny, what do you got going on in the athletic?
Well, I'm going to have my FIU story running sometime early next week. I'll get a chance to talk to Willie Simmons this afternoon. So I'm looking forward to writing that because to me, it is interesting, right? Like how FIU just hasn't had more success having this talent base down here. So it'd be interesting to pump that story out. And there'll be more recruiting. And look, the transfer portal is going to reopen soon. There'll be movement again. There's players already entering the portal or declaring that they're entering the portal from all over the country. So we will see what Miami is looking for, and I'm sure I'll be writing about that as well.
And follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. Manny, as always, thank you, my brother. We will catch up next week. Appreciate you.
Anytime, man. Take care.
You got it. There you go. The great Manny Navarro getting it done, as always, with our Big Cheese NIL and recruiting report.
You've been listening to the Big Cheese Miami Recruiting and NIL Report with Manny Navarro. At the Big Cheese Miami, they continue to purchase the same high-quality ingredients that the most expensive Italian restaurants use. The difference is they serve large portions at a family price. Visit the Big Cheese at 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue in Miami. Call 305-662-6855 or go to thebigcheesemiami.com. Go Canes!